welcome to another edition of Swoop's World Late Night, Wednesday, November 14th, 2012. How's it going, Peter?
It's going all right.
Looking forward to talking tonight. We have Jose Cerna from Panther Heart in the studio. How's it going, Jose?
It's going swell.
Get a chance to talk to him again. Panther Heart now, man. Last time he was here, he was the Clouds.
That's right.
We said, hey, what's next for the Clouds? And he says, this is it. We're done. But happy to have him back. Bone, what's happening, brother?
Another day, another not that many dollars.
So, Peter, this week you put another candle on the birthday cake.
That's
huh?
what they tell me.
Yeah, man.
A little longer in the tooth.
Yeah.
Was okay. That went okay. Kids were good mostly, and it was a mellow day to just hang out and get older.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wiser, right?
Wiser. That's it. I got wiser.
Yes. Well, tonight we got a full show, man. We get to talk to Jose about the Panther Heart, and they got a really cool project coming up. We'll be tasting Florida Lager by Florida Beer Company during Brewskis. We'll cover, of course, T-Bone's Time Out, plus our pigskin picks of the week, and some crazy-ass news items that popped up. So
Yes.
full show for you. Really big shoe. Let's take our first break and listen to one from Panther Heart and come back and introduce our guests and get this thing rolling. This is called Dire Wolf, and we'll be back after this.
This year, firefighters like Fire Chief James Hall will battle wildfires around the country in hopes of containing them. But firefighters can't do it alone.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile, where it can ignite and destroy your home and community.
Get fire adapted. Learn simple steps you can take now to reduce wildfire damage later at fireadapted.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. Learn more at fireadapted.org.
I go to school with your children. We say the Pledge of Allegiance together. I'm one out of every 4 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger. I'm lucky to grow up where I could be whatever I want. I want to grow up and be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank. Every dollar you donate helps provide 7 meals for kids like me. Together, we're Feeding America. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Talk Story Radio Network.
Hey, there's a sharp hole in the wall, and you're listening to Swoop's World.
Hey, welcome back to Swoop's World on Talk Story Radio Network, and our guest today is Jose Serna from Panther Heart. Welcome back, man.
Hey, hi. Thanks.
Always glad to have you. And tell us a little bit, especially for our new listeners, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in music, and we'll go from there.
I started music when I was in middle school. My dad was in a Mexican dance cumbia band, and so when my dad would go practice with his band, which was with all my uncles, because he'd have a large Catholic family, we would all be babysat in the house, and so we'd always hear music, and so we'd always exposed to it. We always wanted to play. We'd play with all the instruments, play with the pedals because they lit up. And then the older I got, the more I wanted to play guitar, because I thought it was because Green Day's Dookie came out, and I didn't want to listen to Tevin Campbell anymore. So yeah, I got through life and moved to Long Beach and was in another band called The Clouds. We were very active, and we came here. We met you.
Yeah, we had a good time.
You guys.
That was a great.
That was
we credit all you guys in here, and you guys played.
We played, and it was
Knocked
outstanding music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that.
We enjoyed it, really.
Yeah,
really
thanks.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think when we came, we were on our last record. We were about to release our last record, and then you guys had asked us, so what's the next step? And it's we're going to release it. And it never really got released because we kind of just, we just kind of we're done. We don't really care anymore. So it's online. It's totally free, and people can download it. theclouds.bandcamp.com. But then I met some really amazing people through The Clouds, because when you start playing music or art or anything, you start getting surrounded by other like-minded people.
Yeah.
And you find amazing people, and some of those amazing people are now part of this Panther Heart project.
Tell us a little about the Panther Heart project. It's very unique. Singing, no words, and it's a trilogy. I take it.
We don't know. It's gonna go on. No, I think it's gonna be a 4-part series.
And it's titled
Panther Heart Defeats the Dire Wolf.
And the song we just listened to is the Dire Wolf.
Yeah, that's the song that we just listened to is basically the introduction to the character of the Dire Wolf in her pure form. So, however you heard it, it's a joyful song. It's a very epic, joyful song, and that's who she is.
How did you decide to come up with this concept?
I didn't actually come up with the concept. Someone I met, Christopher Lyles, he's an artist here in Long Beach. He actually came up with it. He came up with the whole Panther. He started Panther Heart with a couple other people, and I joined in later. And back then it was just kind of like a avant-garde experimental sort of project. And then when I joined in, it's when the Clouds were kind of coming to an end. And I'm very purpose-driven. I can't function very well if it's sort of like an avant-garde thing. But I really, really respected what he was doing. And so I joined in and I thought, I'm going to push myself doing this thing and release the structure and just kind of go with it. do this artsy thing in my head.
Yeah.
But really, what he taught me was that I kind of started limiting myself with the clouds, and Panther Heart sort of helped push me a little bit. So the Panther Heart project came up by Christopher Lyles. The story is he lives in a neighborhood, a pretty rough neighborhood, and his neighbor there is a woman with kids and yells a lot at her kids and cusses a lot. And every day he would see her and he would smile at her and she wouldn't respond, or if she would respond, it was a very negative way, which I'm sure we've all met people like that. And so every day he would keep responding that way. And then he saw her kids starting to react negatively to their peers. And so it was like this cycle of just like, we just teach this hateful way of being, and who knows how she got it. And so every day he smiled at her, and then one day she smiled back. And that's when he came up with the idea of Panther Heart Defeats the Direwolf.
Oh. Now, who's in Panther? I know when the clouds, your wife was in with you, right?
Yeah, my now wife was in the clouds, and she's with Panther Heart. Yeah.
Now, what is it? Panther Heart? Who does Panther Heart consist of?
Oh man.
You got a roster?
Yeah, it's 9 people, and I think it might be growing. But the core group right now is Christopher Lyles and Lisa Narinia, who are in this band called Lisa and the Roly Polies, Loli Lisa and the Roly Polies. It's me, Jason, and Pam, who are in the clouds. This guy named Pat Watley, who's this guy who was really, really into heavy metal, and he's an awesome guy, and we got him just because we needed some badassness in it. And then there's
call that street cred.
Yeah. Yeah. I should. He gets embarrassed because we did this Kickstarter video, and my brother filmed it, and then he just said, "My name's Pat, and I'm what makes Panther badass." And he was just joking, and we kept it in there. And now we just keep making fun of him and just saying that. But really, like, we should
be careful what you say in front of the camera.
We should really just change it to street cred. I think that works better. And there's Ryan Serrano and Guillermo Gomez, who both were trained musically. A lot of us aren't trained musically, and some of us are, like Jason and Guillermo and Ryan, and so they bring that credibility. And sometimes they start talking, and I have no idea what they're saying. They start Pam too. They'll just go into this language of like a seventh diminished, blah blah blah. I was like, this? No, this? Okay, got it. So it's it's 9 of us. And it's a wide range of character and talent, and just it's really difficult, but it's amazing in the end.
The creative process, when creating anything is work, no matter how much we enjoy it. When you talk about creating, not necessarily when you create an instrumental, I mean it's going to be instrumental. When you're creating songs with no words, and which you're going to have to perform, I guess, at times. How does that creative process work, and how do you guys kind of settle on what's coming out there?
It's pretty fun, and I think that we have an advantage to doing it, because there's a lot of bands that do it, like Mogwai or Explosions in the Sky, and there's Godspeed You Black Emperor. There's a lot of bands that do this post-rock sort of thing, but I feel like we have an advantage to writing music because we have a story, and if each song is very purposeful and very focused on what the story is, then it becomes a lot easier to tell whether or not that's just us trying to show off or this is actually what we're supposed to be doing. So normally what happens is Chris comes up to us and says, this part of the story is supposed to be the character of the Dire Wolf, for example, who's supposed to be a very majestic, epic, almost like holy character of just purity. And so what is that going to sound like? What is it going to sound like when the dire wolf wakes up and then looks at where she lives and then roams in her environment? What is that going to sound like?
Well, the question I have is, it might sound like something to you and something different to one of the other members, and how does that creative teamwork figure that out?
Well, Many arguments. It's hard. It's really hard. I gotta admit, like, we'll go and then sometimes we're on the same page and then sometimes we have to redirect and somebody has to speak up, and then if only one person speaks up and everyone shuts them down, then, you know, it's just, it is really difficult, and I don't know if we've gotten it down yet. I don't think we ever will. I don't think any group with 9 people is ever gonna. I mean, look at Congress. But I think with our communication, we're getting better at communicating and better being honest and what we need and how to speak to each other. I think it's getting better, especially with the message that we're even trying to give, which is communicating out of love and stop just reiterating this like foul, hateful speech because we don't get what we need.
Right.
And so if we can't even do it in the band, you know, what do we think we're gonna be saying? So I think we're getting pretty good at it.
Now,
that didn't answer your question. The question is, I don't know.
You don't know.
It's hard. I'll let you know.
You know
when,
that you're working on.
That's like that commercial. 99% sure, so you don't know, right? You've gone from pretty much one large band to another larger band. You ever kind of do the solo thing or like a 2-piece, 3-piece thing? Or you?
I tried, man. You know what? It's funny because the Clouds was supposed to be a solo thing. The Clouds was me writing on a laptop and then getting people to play what I wrote. And then I ended up really trusting those musicians to do what they do best, which is better than what I could do. So I don't think I could ever go back to being solo because relying on just me is like just setting myself to fail. Really, I don't think that anybody can function on their own soul merits at all. They're gonna crash. Yeah. And so just to have a larger group like Panther Heart, 9 people, to constantly refocus and remind people like, look, you're getting off task. Let's continue. This is about love. This isn't about your ego. It really is amazing. Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure Peter's got a couple questions coming up too, but let me sneak this one in on you. When you have 9 people and you have to rehearse,
yeah,
how difficult is that with all the schedules and everything else? Or are 8 of you unemployed?
It used to, yeah. Right. No, we've gotten pretty lucky where we can set one single day out of every week. We set one single day, and that's all we do. If anything comes up, we cancel. It's like, no, I'm busy. This is what we're doing, because it's really important to all of us to get this done. Especially, this isn't a band that's just, I'm going to write love songs or I'm going to write a song about my angst. Like, this is a very purposeful band that we all really believe in, so we're willing to give that much of our time to.
Excellent.
Well, then, kind of along those lines, is what sort of events are you guys? Are you guys playing a lot of live stuff? Are you more recording now? Where are you guys at? And if you are performing live, get 9 people to play, what's that like in space and venues and all that?
It's hard.
Yeah, I would think.
It's really hard. Because not only do we have a large group, but the instruments are large. We have a piano, we have drum set, we have a full-size harp, we have a cellist.
Who plays your harp?
Christopher Lyles.
I saw the video. I think we know him.
Too?
Yeah, he always looked the video.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been involved in a lot of
I think we met him when we were doing the Catalyst thing.
Oh yeah, he is involved in that too. Yeah,
Oh,
him and the drummer Ryan Serrano. They're both involved in Catalyst. But it is very difficult. We have to take many cars, and we can't just go to Alex's bar. And be like, hey, let's play here. Because they have a different clientele, or they have a different purpose. So
what kind of places are you playing?
We play at coffee shops. We play at art houses. We play at art walks. We were gonna play at Mola tomorrow. It didn't work out, but places that are where people are there to listen, and sit down. It's almost like going to a play or theater. We have programs, because since we don't have words, we sing in vowels. And we want them to know the story. It's like, well, we can't expect you to know the story. So we have to give them programs that has the story written in there for each song.
Wow. Now, that was one of the things I read where you said that you hand out things at the concert and so the audience can follow along. Give us a kind of a real clear idea of what it's like to go to a Panther Heart show.
You go in, it's hot, kind of smells like BO. No, you would go in and you would be handed a program, and in the program it has song for song explanation of each thing. You go and you sit down, and there's a projection going on in the background, which is also edited and put together by Chris. It's playing in the background, and we play relatively loud. It would probably be for about an hour plus, no intermission, hopefully seating, and you just got to go and prepare to experience something that's more like performance art, I guess, than going to a cloud show.
That's very cool, man.
Yeah.
I have to imagine that at each show, even though you're performing the same thing, I have to imagine each show is just a little bit different.
Oh yeah, especially with the time constraints that we have with different venues, because we have to take a long time to set up too.
Right.
We've gotten a lot better. I think our quickest setup time was 15 minutes, which is, in my opinion, a long time. I mean, we should set up in 5 to 10 minutes tops. But it takes us like 30 minutes to set up sometimes.
Well, you have projections. You got all kinds of
We
stuff.
got a lot of stuff. And this is at a venue that we're not hosting.
Right.
Most times we host because we understand the time restrictions. So the other day we played at the Airliner. We only had a 30-minute set. And we set up. Fortunately, the band before us canceled. So they asked us to play first. I'm like, no. We'll just use that time to set up. And sure enough, it took us like 30 minutes to set up. Because we got to mic the harp, and the harp is, most times you go to a venue, like, sound engineers don't, at bars, they don't do harp. Yeah. Like, what is that? Oh, just throw a mic in the hole and you're done. But it doesn't work that way. So it is difficult, and we're learning how to be more efficient and without kind of taking the music out of the picture. So
now you guys had a Kickstarter project, and you met your goal.
We met our goal.
That's awesome.
I was really excited. I actually wanted to have our goal higher, and they kept telling me no. And so I'm really glad that I listened to them, because we barely made it. Well, we made it over by like $100.
Yeah, I saw you
made it by
over.
$100. But really, like, it was hard because we were new. Like, we would go to places, and it's a big band. He has a big sound, and then we'd go like, boom, here we are, and then people would be taken away, but there's no follow through. Like, a lot of people who go to shows don't go home and like check it out right away.
Right.
Most times they'll forget about it
Right.
for the most part, unless you hand them something, which is almost like I think Mitch Hedberg said, like, oh, a flyer, thanks, I'll throw that away for you. Like, it's really hard. So doing the Kickstarter was sort of a test for us to see how much we can be accessible to the general public. So I think that we did a really good job. We hustled hard. We played so much. I'm really proud of those Panthers actually, because some of them haven't been in a band in a long time. They don't know what it's like to hustle as hard as bands do. So they know now.
Yeah. Any upcoming gigs that we?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. We got a show this Friday. It's really big. A lot of what we like to do is not only play shows but host them so that we can do whatever we want. And it's not just music, but it's also a projection. And this one is going to be an art installation included. Chris Lyles, along with Amy Solis, another artist, are designing this elaborate set that's supposed to look like a forest, but made out of fabric and yarn and all kinds of crazy material that I don't even know. That's why they're not here. They were all supposed to be here. Some of them were supposed to be here, but they're all really, really hard at work for this show that's coming on Friday.
You go represent. We're going to be working on the set.
Yeah. Please do, because I don't want to like represent and then people go to an unfinished show. So if you're listening to this, Panthers,
you shouldn't be. You should be working.
Yeah,
Back to work.
Yeah. So some are at the art gallery we're gonna do it at, which is at 652 Pine, I think. I don't know. It's on our Facebook, which is just search Panther Heart on Facebook. PantherHeart.com. You can go. It's at the Society Gallery, which I think you can also Google. And it's gonna be. I've heard. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it because they told me it's supposed to be a surprise. But I don't know. I don't know what's the surprise. But basically, it's supposed to look like a forest made out of yarn with trees and stuff and mulch all over the ground. I would suggest bring chairs.
Yeah.
Because there's no chairs and it's like an hour plus. My back hurts. I'm 30 and I feel old. So
I definitely need a chair there.
yeah, but I would ask you guys to go. Like I'm really excited about this show because we get to do whatever we want, which is rare for bands. Yeah. Most times, like in the Clouds, we'd go and be like, okay, we're at your mercy, sound guy, venue owner. Like, what are we allowed to do? Like, we can do whatever we want. And so, if you come to this show, you will get to see what we're allowed to do and what we will do. And so, I really like this.
That's Saturday night, right?
It's Friday.
Friday night.
It's Friday. Doors open at 7. It's completely free. Most of our shows are free unless we play at someone else's venue. Yeah.
Cool. Let's take a quick break and listen to. Let's see what's the next one we have for you.
Transformation. Can I just speak a little bit on it?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the first song was the introduction to the dire wolf. And so what happens in the story is the dire wolf drinks from this river. And this river is possessed by this ghost, the river ghost. And this river ghost was murdered a long time ago. And so this dire wolf goes and drinks from this river, much like we drink from when we learn from our parents or when we learn from our society. And when the dire wolf drinks from this river, it gets possessed by the hatred of the river ghost. And so this next song that we're about to hear is immediately after the dire wolf, which is on both songs are on the forthcoming EP coming out in January. The transformation is basically what the title says. It's the transformation that somebody goes through from becoming who we are potentially capable of being into what we can be when we are surrounded by hate. So that's what this song is about.
Very cool. You're listening to Swoop's Road on the Talk Story Radio Network. My guest is Jose Serna from Panther Heart, and we're going to listen to The Transformation. We'll be back after this.
Check out my new time machine.
Does it work?
Hit the button.
Hey, it's Napoleon.
Oui. Check out the future.
Hey, you have a nice house. Why don't I?
You didn't save any money, buddy.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and fix that.
Yeah.
Save something for the future. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Move Time Radio, presented by the Arthritis Foundation. And we're smack dab in the middle of our dance-a-thon to fight arthritis pain. Me, I've been grooving for 10 hours straight, baby, but I'm a boogie machine. See, movement is just one of the ways to help fight osteoarthritis pain. Another is weight loss. You get rid of just 1 pound. That's 4 pounds of pressure off each knee. For more information on managing pain, visit fightarthritispain.org. Then meet me on the dance floor. This message brought to you by the Arthritis Foundation and the Ad Council.
Talk Story Radio.
Hi, this is Kelly Z.
Casey Reagan.
We're from Music You Can See and AmeriBlues.com and Kelly's Live. We are swooping it at Swoop's World.
Got word this morning. I'm headed off to war.
Welcome back to Swoop's World on Talk Story Radio Network, where we're always interactive, live, and archive. And you can always like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. You can download anything and everything we do from iTunes for free, as well as swoopsworld.com and a number of other podcasting places. But wherever you go, wherever you get the show, if you download it or you just like the show, go to one of these places and leave a comment and a review. We'd appreciate it. Our guest tonight is Jose Serna from Panther Heart. Welcome back to the show, Jose.
Thank you.
Now, the EP that's coming up, there's like a there's a story, there's a book that goes along with it, right? So, Are you guys writing the book at the same time?
Yeah. The book is comprised of stories that are compiled by a historian. That's the way it's being written. Kind of like I don't know if you guys are familiar with Pam's gonna hate me for saying it. World War Z. You guys are familiar with that?
I'm not.
Okay. The way that book is written, which is the way that this book is being written, is it's like found articles. So there's a story for each song, and one of them will be from a point of view of somebody who was there at the event. Another one can be a anthropological approach to the story. So it's supposed to be a legend, like we're creating a legend, sort of through found articles of maps and pictures and storytelling from interviews and stuff like that. That's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
So it looks kind of cool. Pam's been doing a really good job with it. We have a lot of different writers doing it because we want a different voice for each story, so that it feels a little bit more authentic.
I
just said it was fake though.
Fake authentic.
That's what
authentically
that's
fake.
at the heart of fiction, right?
Yeah.
You're telling a truth through lies.
Yeah.
Truth through imaginary circumstances.
Okay. All the best literature. That's what it's based on.
The concept is amazing. I just want to know how that first conversation went. There's a lot of alcohol involved when somebody says, "Hey, listen, I want you to be a part of this, and here's how it works."
Yeah, I don't know what Chris was on when he did it. I want to say he was on Love, which can be a drunken thing. He came up to us and we just started writing music without that story in mind. We had we have a lot of other songs that aren't going to be on this record, on these records. But we all started writing music, and then it started kind of fitting into this thing. And then he said, "You know what? I kind of want to do this project. What do you guys think?" And we were like, "Well, yeah, that's awesome, because now we have some direction." And then once he said that, now we're all focused in. Now we know what to bring in and what not to bring in. And including the book is just, to me, is almost as important as the music, because if you just, I don't know, I mean, the music sounds cool. I mean, audience, right? You heard it. But it doesn't really mean as much if you don't know what's going on. And how are you supposed to how are you supposed to know what's going on without someone telling you? Really? Then it's all up to well, I feel it's more about love. Or I feel it's more about car crashes. I don't know.
Isn't that what art's all about, though? That's what,
Yeah, I guess.
That's what I was told, right?
I guess, and that's why I leave the art to Chris and a lot of the other members. I don't really consider myself to be an artist. I want to communicate, and when I communicate, I want to be clear. You know,
It's a novel concept.
I feel like communication is best done with words, like we're doing now, listeners. But since he's an artist and he wants to do things in a different approach to things, which is amazing because I get to be pushed to do things without words, then this music comes out and it's great. But the book is really, really important because it's not going to be as powerful without it.
Right.
So when you buy the album, we're not going to release it just digitally or just the music. You have to buy the book with it, which is only going to be $15 at pantherheart.com come January.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I was going to ask you. You know, we try to get through a lot of stuff here, and, you know, we kind of rush through some things, but we want to make sure we cover everything you want to talk about. Is there anything that you want to talk about that we haven't yet covered?
The book will be $15 on pantherheart.com come January.
Now, where is that again, and when will that be available?
I think it's going to be in 2013 if we make it. If the whoever said we're gonna die is wrong. Who's it? Was it the Aztec or the Mayans or the Incas or
it was all of them. All made one time or another said that's the time.
Yeah.
So
they didn't even make it.
They're running out of time now. We got,
Yeah.
So
So
spook us, right?
Yeah. I like the best explanation of all that. It's like, you know what? You bought a 5-year calendar. At the end of the 5 years, the calendar's over, right? That doesn't mean the world ends. It just means the count.
Right.
They created a calendar that went till 2012. That's when the calendar ended. That didn't mean world ended.
I saw a cartoon like that.
I saw a meme of that. Yeah.
it's
They're like, oh, the people in the future are gonna be really scared.
just ran out of room.
Yeah.
I mean, they were carving everything on rock, and I can attest, carving shit on rock
Takes
is
up a lot of
hard,
space, huh?
man. I'm surprised they went as far ahead in the future as they
Yeah,
did.
maybe they just got a cramp.
Yeah.
They're like, 2013, I'm done.
Yeah, maybe their tools all needed to be sharpened, and they're like, screw it, I don't want to sharpen these tools.
We'll
Maybe-
probably be dead by then.
Maybe somebody just said, "No, we're done with that project. Let's move on to something else."
Yeah. But the thing with Panther Heart is the story is very purposeful. It'll probably be four EPs that will make up the entire saga, which is called Panther Heart: The Feast of Dire Wolf. Each EP will probably be called something different, not unlike Star Wars.
Then you gotta get to the prequel after the third one.
I don't think so. I don't think
What
9
about
people
the book?
can be
Is
together
the
for that
book,
long.
Is the book?
He doesn't
Speaking
have a
from
track- he has a
speaking
track
from is the book a digital or is it
It's hard
it's a print?
copy.
Nice.
It's hard
Okay.
copy. I don't think we're gonna do. The only thing we're gonna do digital is the music release because of the price of CDs and the dying of that medium. In the end, our goal is to sell enough books to release to use that money to release a vinyl. Probably gonna be a big vinyl box set with everything in it. But that's way
very cool, man.
yeah. I'm really
Just before
really
you break up.
right before we break up.
You gotta come back here before you do that.
Right.
But you have to actually release it this time.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, not unlike the clouds, we will release it. So I'm really really excited about this project. I really believe in it, not only for the music that we're doing, the art that we do, but the conversation that it brings, which is how do you stop hate? And this conversation that is being done through us is, without words, but it's a way to break this chain of hate like that we keep talking about.
That brings me back to a question. The woman and the kids that started this all. Yeah. What's happened with them? I mean, does he still live there? Is he still smiling every day? Has there been a change in the kids' behavior? What's going on?
Well, he definitely is still smiling every day, unless I talk to him about business. And then he's like,
or breaking up,
which is not what we're talking about, Chris. He did move from that place. I don't know how this what the story is with this family, but the cellist and myself work with in a family agency where we go to families' homes and we see this every day. This either probation or Department of Family Services. Like, it's just this never-ending cycle. The kids are doing exactly what the parents are doing, and so if they just keep getting more and more people involved in their lives and building these relationships that are more about respect and love and communicating that instead of just assuming that they're going to pick it up.
Right.
And the thing about that too is that's not just a poor thing. You know, sometimes it's easy to point to miserable people and say, well, they're miserable because they're poor. But, you know, I've worked for some very wealthy people, and it happens at all levels. And you see people who have pretty much everything. I mean, their life is good. There's really pretty much nothing that they cannot buy, and they're just miserable. They're miserable fucking people. And then you go and you meet their kids at some point, and you're like, oh my God, the kid is miserable. The kid is behaving just like the mom or the dad.
You can see together. You're just like your mom.
Yeah,
and just like your dad.
And in those cases, you're looking at people who, have a big leg up because they have wealth. You know, so at least they're not having to worry about like putting food on the table or going to school. But they're that negative, that hateful manner, and you can see the kid got it straight from the parent, and the parent probably got it from a grandparent, or who knows where.
Yeah,
but again, the cycle isn't being broken instead of being, and you see that, and as an outsider, you look at that, and you go, "That's it's sad all the time, but it's especially sad when you see it in people who have a lot." Well, anybody, but I mean,
it's sad to
when
see
you see young people who are closing off their minds to possible. When you see older people, you're like, well. Maybe they've lived a long enough life to know
they're just curmudgeons.
They're just sucking. That's and they're just going to be that way. But when you see kids who like almost their lives have been predetermined by this,
so you know how you break that cycle. You get them out to a Panther heart concert.
Oh. And that's the conversation that we want to start. This conversation that you just got into is like, we see that, we acknowledge it, and what are we going to do about it? Are we going to just go to the kid and say, wow, you're just like so-and-so? Are we going to go to the adult and say, you're awful, you're this and that, or whatever? And what are we, like, how are we responding? We're responding with just much hate as that person is. And so how do we die to ourselves and be willing to do that?
Well, you know, it's interesting, and you talk about, I forgot what his name, the one who smiled every day. Chris. I've seen shows, read stories and articles about people who've stated they were in such a dire way. They were contemplating killing themselves, and life is horrible and miserable and all these horrible things, and just somebody smiling at them gave them a reason to live. So you never know how you touch someone each day. We're talking about we've talked about the cycle of things. But that person who's actually that might be a way to break that cycle.
Yeah.
Because that person is always unhappy because they don't think anybody notices them or cares about them or ever smiles.
Or they needed that one kind deed at the one moment. It doesn't necessarily need to be big something. It's just that one person. You never know. You never know. Hearing the right music at the right time.
Yeah. And having someone to listen, because I feel like a lot of times it's just having your voice heard.
Yeah.
Some people just don't think anybody's listening.
Well, and people, I've heard people say that they said, I just want somebody to listen. I don't want answers. I don't want you to solve anything for me. I just want you to listen.
Yeah.
And that's all some people need sometime at that time in their life and that moment in their life. And as a society, a world society, I think we need to do more of that. I think we need to kind of we look past a lot of things. We were used to seeing, the guy hanging out in front of the 7-Eleven begging for change and this kind of stuff. We look past those things, and sometimes you just need to look at the individual. I'm not saying you gotta help everybody you see, but sometimes just a nod or an acknowledgement goes a long way.
Yeah.
All right, I'm off my
cool. Well, thank you for listening to me and having my voice heard.
That was a pleasure.
Absolutely, Jose. It's always great to have you on. I'm glad you reached out and came on back.
Cool.
And look forward to seeing you guys and come on back. Bring the group with you.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think you're gonna need like 4 cameras.
Leave the instruments behind, man. Well, until we move into our larger studio.
Yeah.
I don't know how we'd get the harp in here and all mic'd up.
I say we should just bring them all in and make it work.
Just see what happens.
Of course, it's not mine. I'm not the one that has to do all the rearranging.
Building out here. But no, I was just kidding. I mean, yeah, it'd be fun to have you guys all here. That was. I remember when you had the clouds. What did we have? 7? Was it 7 that day?
It was 5. It was 5.
Yeah.
But we had 2 pianos.
That's
what it's. Yeah.
So they was like having 7 people.
That's what it felt. That's what it felt like.
Each piano was like 3 people.
Any last? Tell everybody your websites, all the ways to get a hold of you.
Pantherheart.com should have everything in there, but you can also find Panther Heart on Facebook, which is where we do most of the updating nowadays. I just found out today we have a Twitter.
You do have a Twitter, and you got 7 followers now. 8.
Yes.
I followed you because you're now 8, I think.
Yeah. Well, apparently a lot of people don't know we have a Twitter. if all like there's less people following Twitter than there are people in the band.
That's true.
So,
that means some of the band members aren't even following yours.
Yeah,
well, gotta work on that.
Yeah, we'll work on it. But yeah, thanks so much for having me on. And PantherHeart.com. We have a show on Friday. It's gonna be, I've been calling it epic.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be epic, and we're gonna be doing a lot more in January. I think this is gonna be our last kind of big show. And we're playing the Art Theater. Never mind, we're playing the Art Theater December 6th.
Really? On 4th?
Yeah.
Oh, very
We're playing
cool.
this thing. I don't really know much about it. I just found out about it a couple days ago.
So I wrote a song about it.
Yeah. We're playing at the Art Theater, where a lot of bands are playing to video projections, and that's how we got on, because we do that already.
Yeah.
So that might be kind of cool.
That is very cool. I remember.
I mean,
man, Panther's Heart Twitter is growing. You guys are now up to 11.
Woohoo!
We've passed our band. There's probably the other band members listening to this.
Swoop and I.
What's Twitter?
Something we need to know about?
Yeah.
Oh, look at Dave. Look Dave throwing in a little local lore there. That's right across the street from Lola's. Exactly correct. Well, Jose, I want to thank you for showing up. You're welcome to hang out with us. We'll be doing our Brewski's beer tasting here in a little bit, and cool, man. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Listen to Swoop Strong.